Good morning. Good morning to all our veterans out there, our citizen soldiers. This is Veterans Views on WJOB. It is 0900 in the AM. We are here in beautiful Hammond, Indiana, in the bunker. We have a good show for you today. We want to welcome you to Veterans Views, and with me today is Mr. Pat O'Donnell. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Donna. It's good to be back on the air here just for a short period of time so I could go out and do other things.
I know you're a very busy man.
17 years on the radio and it's still making appearances. So, yeah, and there's a lot of things to talk about,
Yes,
too.
there are.
And, Donna, I'm going to ask you, what do you got?
Well,
I know you got some things there.
Yeah, I got some things. I've been doing some research on this bill in front of Congress right now.
Okay.
It's supposed to be helping veterans, but I think it's going to be a detriment to us.
Well, here's what happened to the bill. It got stopped.
Oh, they stopped it again?
The whole bill has been stopped.
I haven't looked at it this morning.
Well, they were considering legislation this week that would give medical retired veterans both military retirement pay and Veterans Affairs disability compensation.
Right.
But both provisions are among 62 consolidated in the Take Care of America's Veterans Bill, which is now put to the side.
Yeah. Good.
And it was proposed June 10th by the Republican chairman of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committee to address several top priorities. Now, some of these priorities, I don't think they should take away. The legislation included Major Richard Starr Act.
Yeah, but the way the Starr Act is written is to pay for the Richard Starr Act, they want to have other veterans' benefits reduced to pay for that act, and that's why I'm totally against that. As are the DAV, the VFW, but not the American Legion, which I'm very disappointed.
But we don't have to worry about that now because the bill is not going to be entertained.
Good, because they have a discharge position in front of the Veterans Committee to bring the Major Richard Starr Act to a vote by itself. Now, the government always says that they don't have the money to pay for it, even though there's a lot of sponsors in the Senate and the Congress, both for this bill, but there's always one person who refuses to bring it to a vote. And it's always a different person each time. And the thing that bothers me is when they say they don't have any money, but yet the DOD just got a $960 trillion, with a T, trillion dollar budget. You mean to tell me in $960 trillion they don't have enough to pay their veterans? And this is despicable. Because they have no problem sending us to die.
There are very large corporations who are getting very large contracts through the Department of Defense to build weapons. And that's what happens. And I think a lot of these corporations could actually give the government a little break on some of these expenses. Right. I remember a long time ago when we looked up multiple impact devices that were $2,000 a piece, turned out to be an Ace Hardware hammer.
Yeah.
So, this goes on and on and on, and you got to have accountability. And, of course, with this bill, which is no longer viable.
Good.
And I'm glad that they discontinued it. They were going to take away tinnitus, which is, if you're in combat or if you're not even in combat, and you're practicing firing, have you ever stood next to an 8-inch gun when it goes off?
Wow, my headphones just exploded. No, I have not.
Well, an 8-inch gun, when it goes off, it makes a very, 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 very loud noise, and your ears are ringing for days in some cases. That's why you see those people wearing those earmuffs.
I mean, who in the military who's ever fired a weapon doesn't have tinnitus? You work around heavy equipment, you work around jets, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you're going to get, I have it really bad.
Well, another condition was sleep apnea.
Yes.
They wanted to take away that, but they wanted to keep the conditions for people that had already filed. In other words, if you're a new veteran coming out of the military, you filed for sleep apnea or tinnitus, you wouldn't be able to get it.
Right. And sleep apnea
so
is not
what are they going to do? Take away the cannons and guns and everything?
Right.
So our ears don't get messed up?
And the thing is sleep apnea is not just So I've seen some things online. Oh, it's just because people are fat. No, sleep apnea in the military is not tied to body weight. It's tied to TBIs and other issues, exposures to toxic chemicals. So it's not tied to weight in the military.
A lot of good things in that bill, Donna.
There are. But we can't sacrifice one for the other. These need to be individual bills, and Congress needs to get off their butts and do their job.
And of course, I'm kind of glad that the POTUS decided that he wasn't going to sign that bill until they took care of another bill.
Right.
So hopefully, and in fact, it has to go through the Senate anyway.
Right.
So we're going to have to see what happens on this. Veterans Views is going to keep everybody informed on the ongoing situation. They wanted to raise the disability compensation for families of veterans with catastrophic injuries by $10,000 a year, and increase payments to survivors by 1%.
I thought the VA had already done that.
Well, they have a method that they do,
right.
As far as cost of living adjustments, things like that.
Well, the thing is one thing this bill would have also done is it would have taken VA disability ratings out of the VA and into a government bill, which for those two things, which is a very slippery slope, because one, they'll never be changed again, because taking to change something with an act of Congress is ridiculously
how
hard.
about the veterans that live, say, in the Philippines or in other parts of the world? The VA wants to send traveling physicians from the U.S., to U.S. territories.
Okay.
Not the Philippines, but territories.
Wouldn't it be cheaper just to send them to a clinic that's already there?
Well, yeah, if they have one, but some of those places don't have them.
Oh.
And Pacific Island nations. So when they say Pacific Island nations, are they talking about like the Philippines? Because I know a lot of veterans that moved there because the cost of living is a lot cheaper. So when they say Pacific Island nations, that's a different nation, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
So
there's a lot of nations in the Pacific Islands.
So they want to be able to fly to physicians out there and grants for mental health professionals to provide treatment to veterans. The bill has stalled in the House, of course, as we know. Mm-hmm. So again, listen to Veterans Views. We're going to keep everybody informed on what's happening with that bill.
And if you want to call in and chime in and give us your opinion on this topic, you can reach us at 219-845-1100. Right.
219-845-1100.
Yeah, give us a call.
219-845-1100. You're listening to Veterans Views radio program coming to you directly from a bunker deep down inside WJOB in Hammond, Indiana.
Right.
There's some other things, Donna, that really gripe me.
Yeah. No.
Besides mostly 80% of everything that gripes me. For years, Veterans Views has been monitoring what's going on at veterans hospitals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you know, in years before, we've caught a lot of hospitals doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And people that work there doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. We've gotten directors put on the carpet and even in some cases fired because of some of the things that we uncovered at these veterans hospitals. Well, a Persian Gulf war veteran, and I want to hear what everybody thinks about this, with Alzheimer's disease, was pushed, punched, and shoved violently into his wheelchair in a state-run veterans home this spring.
I read about that. Yeah.
Now, that's unbelievable. Who are some of these people that they hire to work at these places? He was pushed, of course, by his caretaker, a man who also worked at a nearby veterans hospital and was allowed to remain employed there after being fired from the state facility because of the abuse. But the VA kept him.
I heard he got fired.
Yeah.
But they brought him back?
Well, they brought him back,
Oh, man.
His name is Matthew A. Cox, and he was charged April 2nd for endangering the welfare of an incompetent, physically disabled person, 60-year-old former Marine Corps Corporal Albert O'Toole. So he hit him
Wow.
on the hand with a broom handle, and I've heard this happen before, and there was actually videotapes
Yeah.
of some of this stuff happen that the family had put into the room.
And it not only happens to veterans.
And exactly, it happens at a lot of different places,
Yeah.
a lot of different nursing homes. In the video that was secretly recorded by O'Toole's wife on March 1st, a person identified as Cox is seen grabbing food away from O'Toole, smacking him, and shoving him.
Wow.
How can they allow people like that to work in these places? Well, they don't know it until they catch them, I guess.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I don't know, maybe there should be a psychological evaluation for all these places. Any comments on this? 219-845-1100.
And the problem is with the VA, well, with all of them anyway, whether they're VA or not, is they don't pay them enough. You know, if you pay people $7 an hour, you get $7. That's what you get what you pay for. You know, and if they paid these people what you know, and these care facilities are making lots of money, millions of dollars, but yet they don't want to pay their people appropriately.
Well, this is outrageous. This
Yeah.
is outrageous what happened, and I think that the VA needs to really look at some of these caretakers for disabled people in both the
Yeah.
private and the public sector,
Absolutely.
especially for our veterans who risk their lives and come back to get swatted and treated mean by a caretaker. There's got to be some kind of training method for them.
You would think so.
You would think so.
Well, I doubt it.
And he struck O'Toole on the head with a broom.
Wow.
And later, off camera, the veteran cried out in pain. Now, this case is generating a lot of outrage when it was reported June 18th, and this happened in the New Jersey VA.
Wow.
So we're going to bring it up here, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because we got a long reach here on Veterans News Radio program. But we certainly want to keep an eye on that. Donna?
Yes, we do. And I think that one of the things with this bill, going back to the bill in Congress, is that what disappointed me was the American Legion came out in support of it because they said this is how we get the ball rolling. And I'm like, well, what, by sacrificing one class of veterans for another? I said, I don't believe in that. I'm very disappointed in the American Legion.
Well, they may change their tune pretty soon because this bill is going to be redone, I believe. It's held up. It hasn't gone to the Senate yet.
No, I seen that the Senate didn't even have it on their agenda.
And so it's got a long way to go.
It does, and the sad point is the Major Richard Starr Act. For those who don't know what that is a bill because right now, if you're a combat veteran and you are military retired from the military, you can either collect your pension or you can collect disability. Because if you're a combat veteran you're discharged from the military because you're no longer able to perform your duties in the military, they medically retire you, which means for every dollar of your pension that you collect, your VA benefits are reduced dollar for dollar. And that's wrong. If you are a combat veteran who, let's say you lost a limb or you have a severe TBI or whatever the case is, you know, you should be able to, not only are you medically discharged, but you're also a disabled person. So you should be able to get both. And that's what this bill is. And the original bill is only 4 pages.
And there's a lot of things that happen in combat that you live with the entire rest
Yes.
of your life. And I'll give you an example of that. One soldier's laying there bleeding, has an open chest wound, and the other one's laying there bleeding, has an open chest wound. You have one pressure bandage. Which one do you put it on?
Ooh.
Those are the decisions that
Yeah.
have to be made in the field by
And they have
an
to
infantryman.
and they have to be made right now. You can't delay those decisions.
Well, we have a friend that crashed in a helicopter, and he had to make those decisions to people. And this happens to combat veterans that were in Vietnam and other places pretty regularly. You have to make decisions.
And we're asking 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to make these decisions.
Well, they have to.
I know they do.
They're there,
know.
and they're trained to utilize the pressure bandage, but when you have to make a choice between who's going to live and who's going to die,
Yeah.
it lives with you the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and other things, you know, you go into combat and maybe you go on an extra patrol. And on that extra patrol, you know, you lose half of your unit, you know, or you're like in Iraq, you're going into a door and you're the second one in and the first one in. You know, you're supposed to be first, but for some reason the other guy wanted to go first. Whatever. I mean, stuff happens, and now the survivor guilt.
Well,
you know,
another thing is, you know, the way we're brought up and taught in school. When you get into combat, well, the Vietnamese had women, and then you have to blow away a woman that's trying to blow you away with her
Right.
AK-47. And you start thinking about that when you get back. You know, in the heat of combat, you don't think about nothing but survival.
Right, exactly.
But when you're in the heat of combat, you think about, you know, killing the enemy who's trying to kill you. And in a lot of countries, in a lot of combat, they have women that are involved in there. Now,
well, they also have the kids. They put bombs on kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, how do you deal with that? You know, you see a kid walking towards a platoon, say you're the sharpshooter, and you see a kid walking towards a platoon and he's got a bomb, you know, a bomb strapped to him basically. Do you shoot the kid? I mean, my God, this is what combat deals with. I know you do.
Sorry, but you got to.
I know you do, but this is what combat is. And for all these mamby-pamby people out there who say, well, you know, you knew what the job was when you signed up. No, I didn't know I was going to have to kill a kid.
And
you know, I didn't know.
No, you'd have to kill women in some cases. Now, let me give you a scenario that I don't like to really talk about, but I will. Scenario, you're getting fired at from some hooches, and there's an open window, and you're getting fired at, and the sergeant tells you if you have an M79 grenade launcher to fire a round inside the hooch.
Right.
Well, when you get to the hooch, you notice that there were small children in there. And you just blew some of their legs and arms off of them.
Right.
And you live with that the rest of your life. You
Absolutely.
know, war isn't like people see on television.
No.
There's a lot more going on.
Yeah.
And again, you know, this is part of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. I have a friend who's in the Air Force, and he had to load bodies onto a plane. You know, and he was in the rear, but still loading all those bodies on to a plane will cause you to start, you know, overthinking about all this stuff.
Right.
And
these
the
are
faces of these guys, you remember those, and you know, you're 19, 20 years old.
Yeah. How do you deal? You know, and they don't, you know, the mental health that we get. I mean, when I got, and when you got out, it was almost non-existent. Excuse me. But now it's getting better. It's got a long way to go. But dealing with the trauma of combat. I mean, now I've said before, I've never served in combat, but I know I served with a lot of Marines who did. And, you know, when they wouldn't really talk too much about it unless we were drinking.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You know, and their walls would come down. And speaking of drinking, let's talk about some of our sponsors. We have Calumet Breweries. They are at 6535 Osborne Avenue in Hammond. You can reach them at 219-845-2242. If you need a keg or any kind of large alcohol purchase, I highly recommend them. We have Calumet Park and Funeral Chapel. They always support our veterans. They are at 2305 West 83rd Avenue in Maryville. You can call them at 219-769-8803 for veteran savings on complete burial packages. We have DAV Chapter 17. They meet the first Thursday of the month at 1900 at 5820 Holman Avenue in Hammond at VFW Post 802. DAV Chapter 80. They meet the second Friday of every month in Cedar Lake VFW Post 261 at 13050 Washington Street in Cedar Lake. And the Laborers International Union of North America 41. They are at 500 Superior Street in Munster.
Great organization.
Yes, they help a lot of people in the region. 219-924-7922. And we have the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 721. They meet the second Thursday at 1900. They also meet at the VFW Post 802 at 5820 Holman Avenue in Hammond. And Steve invited me to go to one of his meetings.
Yes.
At there, and which was
next week.
Thursday. I went to the last one, and it was interesting because like I've said, I'm not a combat vet. I don't have a Purple Heart, of course. And when I walked in, they were like, "Who the heck are you?" One, that I was a female, but two, that and they didn't know. Some of the guys knew me from my work with the show. But I said, "Hey, I'm just here to observe. I'm not a Purple Heart recipient. Steve just wanted me to come and talk to you guys about the show." And one guy asked me if I was in Vietnam. I was like, "Oh man, do I really look that old?" I said, "Well, maybe I need to go back to coloring my hair or something." But anyway, they are a great organization, great group of guys. So if you are a Purple Heart member, I highly recommend going to their meeting.
And of course, recently, and this is good news for a lot of people out there that have been going to the Jesse Brown and to the Edward Hines Jr. VA Hospital. Mm-hmm. Recently, both Jesse Brown and Edward Hines Jr. VA Hospital have received a lot of cash.
Oh, really?
Rebuild everything.
Good.
They received significant cash injections for facility repairs and electronic health record updates.
Well, hopefully they won't spend it on art.
Now, when I hear about the electronic health record update, years ago, I think they did something like that, and it just didn't work out right.
They've been trying to do this for years, and part of the problem is the DoD computers don't talk to the military computers or the VA computers, and trying to get them all on the same software where they're all compatible is one of the biggest problems they have.
And we're also looking at the education system in this country. We have bottom line, we have great universities.
Yeah,
probably the best in the world.
That's why everybody wants to come here and attend them.
But in reading, we're ranked, I think, 9th globally.
Yeah.
And then in science, we're ranked 16th globally.
Wow, we used to be up in the top 10.
Mathematics. I watch some of these videos where these people are interviewed on the street.
Oh my God, I do too.
And
I want to throw I want to punch the TV.
And ask them what's 3 times 7. They don't even know.
No, they don't know. They don't know what countries are in North America, what country we got our independence from, and all those questions.
Now, mathematics. Guess what our rank is?
Oh, it's probably, I would say, 25.
Boomer over there. What do you think our rank is? What? 50th? Well, Boomer, you get the prize. You're close.
Oh, wow.
We're ranked number 34.
Oh, man, that's sad. Well, for all those the younger listeners out there, we didn't even have a federal Department of Education until the 70s when Carter created it, and our scores have consistently gone down ever since. It's ridiculous because states sent for every dollar that, for example, Indiana sends to the federal government for education, we only get 60 cents back. So it's ridiculous to send our for any state to have to send their education dollars to the federal government to only get a fraction of that back. If we eliminated the federal Department of Education, give that power back to the states where it belongs? Because the states, your state and your local school department knows better how to run your education system than the federal government does.
Well, when too much government gets involved, things seem to go downhill. There has to be an equilibrium. Let's go to caller number 1. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, Donna. Morning, Pat.
Good morning.
Hey, I appreciate the show as always. You guys bring a lot of good information there. I want to share more of a happy note.
Okay, Joe.
I just recently had back surgery, so I'm going through physical therapy. And I was in the waiting room, and I was there, and this guy that was waiting with me had a T-shirt on saying, "Hate me." So my
It said
curiosity
what?
got the best of me. I'm not ashamed. Hate me.
Oh,
Beat
And
me.
I looked at him, I go, hate, Hate.
oh, hate me. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Hate me.
Yeah. So me not being a shy guy, I said, so what reason should I have to hate you, buddy? He goes, oh, you're Army, because I had my hat on. He goes, I said, yeah, I was service. He goes, well, I was in the Navy myself. I said, so what reason should I hate you, man? What's going on, buddy? And we just started sharing stories, and he said it was just a band that was on the back end of his shirt. And,
Oh,
we just got to talking. There was a civilian right next to me, and he said, my dad was 30 years in the Marine Corps. I said, oh, he's a
Wow.
lifer. Huh? He loved the Corps loved him. He said, absolutely. I don't understand why you guys hate each other. And the Navy guy and myself both said, well, we don't hate each other. We just bust each other's chops.
right.
And we started laughing, and a couple other people come over and say, yeah, I'm a veteran myself. So the veteran community is a fantastic membership of just a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And I enjoy myself immensely, and my heart grows whenever I'm around fellow veterans. It's just a unique pleasure on my part to interact with other veterans. I find out so much cool information about other people and how they perform. Donna, I want to compliment you on your T-shirt.
Oh, thank you.
250 years,
Yep,
baby.
that's
Best
right, man.
country on God's earth. Have you been watching the videos of the foreigners on the World Cup?
Oh, my God. You
coming
know,
over here. And,
Those videos are amazing, and I couldn't help but laugh when Scotland drank Boston out of beer. I thought that was hilarious. You know, and these people are going to, and they're not all in major cities, and they're going to, and they're seeing the real America. They're seeing what is wonderful with this country.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and some of the people made a
Absolutely.
comment, I guess down in Miami about we didn't know it was like this.
Yeah, all they know is what they see on TV. You know.
Absolutely.
yeah.
The total freedoms that we have here that they're just amazed. I was listening to some of these foreigners, and one in England was saying if they post on Facebook any kind of commentary, they could be fined.
Oh, especially
and then
in
the
England.
other one was,
they'll arrest you.
And the other one was, exactly. I mean, so the freedoms that we have here today that most Americans appreciate, but they don't really appreciate in their heart,
Right.
what we have in this country that other countries don't have. I think that if people got out and just took a simple vacation somewhere else or interacted with somebody, they would really appreciate what we have in this country. Because when I was pulling guard duty, walked a lot of wire in Germany, Czechoslovakia, Poland, on the wall, I saw the other side, and I intermingled with a lot of people that said, you don't understand how much you have. Oh,
Right.
by the way, do you have Marlboro cigarettes?
That was a big thing. Everybody wanted
So-
Marlboros.
Yeah, cowboys, shoot 'em up.
Yeah,
gangster,
right.
You know, Chicago. That's the impression that they have of America.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
I am a absolute proud flag-waving American, but I understand that we do have warts and sores, and we do work our way through it.
Yeah.
And it's better today than it was yesterday, and it's going to be better tomorrow if people just take a certain amount of pride and reflect on what the flag actually means. That's my soapbox,
and,
and
you
I
know-
appreciate your program.
Thank you,
Thank
Joe.
you, Joe. And a lot of people don't realize that we have constitutional liberty here,
Yeah.
and a lot of countries do not.
No.
And it's rooted in our Constitution and the Bill of Rights. America guarantees fundamental freedoms like speech, religion,
Yep.
and the press, which
Yep.
protect the dignity
Yep.
of the individual against government overreach. And that's what we have to watch.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that the government does not overreach. And that's a continuing battle between
Yes, it is.
And
communism, which is, of course, the government owns the means of production, and, of course, capitalism, that doesn't overreach. And the American dream, the nation fosters a meritocratic opportunity culture that engages entrepreneurship and social mobility here. It is a place where anyone, regardless of background, can build generational wealth or pursue their ambition. And I don't like it when people are sitting for the national anthem. You may hate America. Well, if you hate America, then don't stay here. Try to change it, but stand, because that flag means a lot to a lot of us veterans who watched coffins come back, even in wars that weren't popular, draped with the American flag. That's honoring them when you stand for them.
Right.
Don't dishonor the men who died.
Right. And you may not always agree with what the country does and what's going on, but that doesn't mean that you're not proud of where you come from. There's been commanders in chief that I didn't like. There's been some that I did like, and everybody's been there. But the problem is when you say you have to believe what I believe, or you're this or you're that, and that's one of the freedoms we have in this country is we're all free to believe what we want.
Don't change what works.
Yeah.
We have innovation and progress here. Why do we have that? Well, from the first airplane and the internet to modern breakthroughs in medical care and technology, most of them stem from here, America. America has a rich history of pushing the boundaries of American achievement here in the United States and in the world. And why do you think that countries are sending spies here to spy on our science?
Yeah. And what gets me is I had the opportunity to speak to some young people, and when my niece was my great niece was in high school, and her government teacher had me come and speak. And I was talking to these kids, and I was telling them about how in other countries you're not allowed to criticize your government. You'll go to jail. You're not allowed to hold a rally against your government. You'll go in jail, or you get shot. We talked about Tiananmen Square. And how most of those people got killed. And now you could talk about what happened in Iran earlier this year when they killed 30,000 of their own people.
Well, look what happens to women in some of these countries. They get stoned and even beheaded or impaled in some cases. Here we have a melting pot. And we embrace people and ideas from all over the world, as long as they're here legally. And my ancestors came here in the last 100 years, a little over 100 years, at the turn of the last century, like a lot of other people came from Ireland, Scotland, Poland, Cuba in the 50s and early 40s and 30s. They come from all over. They come in here to get their citizenship, and they embrace the benefits that our rich diversity and cultures have in the United States. And that fuels creativity, resilience, and adaptability here. And that's why we need to continue to make sure that this country stays the United States of America with the freedoms that we have. We have a global leadership. America plays the most pivotal role in promoting international peace, democratic values, and global stability in the world. It is the United States that everyone calls upon to solve some of their problems. Whether you like who's in office or whether you don't like who's in office, we still have a Constitution that has to be abided by. And if not abided by, then we have to take these people and make sure that either through our legal means to make sure that they abide by those rules. And that's what makes the United States great.
Yeah, and that's exactly
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
In a lot of countries,
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Exactly. And in a lot of countries, this is not the case.
Right, exactly.
You have totalitarian governments. You have governments where, again, the means of production is controlled by the government. And in order to spur innovation, you have to have a reward for these innovations.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody might say, well, Elon Musk is the first trillionaire, and stuff like that. He's also the first guy that shoots rockets up that land themselves without the U.S. government have to keep paying for rockets over and over again.
Absolutely.
And when our own government couldn't get our astronauts back from the space station, who did they call? They called Elon Musk. Yeah, exactly. So it's we can always be better. Are we perfect? Oh, heck no. Do we
Sure.
have, there's always room for improvement.
There is always room for improvement, as Joe Simonetto used to say.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, we need to keep the fight going. We need to support those workers out there, the labor unions, and the people that are the hardcore of
Right.
America.
And
Because without those people, iron workers, the pipe fitters, the laborers, the carpenters,
The
the
steel workers.
electricians, we wouldn't have anything.
No, and I think a lot of people may have forgotten that BP is still locked out. Those people are still locked out. And some of those, and I just read an article the other day about one of those gentlemen who is locked out, lost his home in the tornadoes.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So,
probably
I mean, they got the double whammy, and they're still locked out, but yet BP is making billions in profits.
Well, why do we have British Petroleum? We need to go back to Standard Oil. We need Americans own these companies.
Yeah.
I can understand, all this international stuff going on, but about companies and everything. But we sometimes I think that maybe foreign companies own too much of some of the things in the United States.
Oh, I agree with that.
The United States people need to start owning more of it. There was a time
Yeah,
when we
Pat,
owned,
don't get me. Yeah.
don't
Don't
get
get
you
me started on the backbone of the politicians
Yeah.
on either side of the aisle, because they are weak as milk toast.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to actually standing for something, they would rather put their finger up in the air and see where the prevailing winds are and what small minority is going to bring them over the top. That was proven in New York on the last elections, where the socialists, so-called, well, they're communists, period. I mean, what the heck is going on in Americans' minds that think that something other than what they have in this country is better, but they can't put their finger on how it's going to work?
Right.
Why would you give up your soul for something like
And
that?
what people may not realize is New York just elected, well, they will elect 3 people who are socialists to Congress. And one of them said that she wanted to do away with our country. And now she's going to be a congressman?
Well, she's got to win in a general election if they vote her in there. Well,
they will.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Socialism, there's a difference between socialism and communism. Again, in communism, the government owns the means of production. We do have socialism here. We have Social Security.
Yeah.
We have the VA, that's socialism, and a few other things. But so we have to be careful. There's a line, and you don't want to go too far one way or too far the other way.
Right.
So we're going to keep an eye on that. And now, Joe, we're going to have to let you go because Donna's got to read the rest of the sponsors.
All right, Joe, thank you very much for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. No
And
problem.
if anybody
All right.
wants to chime in, 219-845-1100, 219-845-1100 is the number.
And we have Family Dental Care. They were on the show a couple weeks ago. Veterans can receive free x-rays, or free exams, x-rays, cleanings, and you get a 10% discount on all of their services. They are throughout the Chicagoland area. Their newest they're opening an office in Griffith this year, and they have their office in Munster. You can call at 219-804-9329, or you can go on their website at familydentalcare.com. And they also have Medicare assistance. If you're on Medicare and you need dental help, they'll help you with whatever you need with Medicare help. So you can give them a call. They have Medicare experts on their payroll. Ron J. Pressimer Insurance Company for all your insurance needs, auto, home, life, health, business, and more.
And he donates to a lot of veteran causes.
Yes, he does. You can reach him at 219-844-0103. We have Kuziak Construction. He is at 1235 Summer Street in Hammond at 219-923-3007. Heroes Helping Heroes, Northwest Indiana. You can contact their founder, Rich Tokars, who does an amazing, he has an event coming up next month we're going to get him on and talk about. 219-670-2501, or you can go on his website, heroeshelpingheroesin.com. And then we have White Oak Home Care, providing in-home care for everybody. 9800 Connecticut Drive in Crown Point. You can reach them at 219-999-5869. or at White Oak Home Care, whiteoakhomecare.com. And if you do use any of our vendors, please mention that you heard about them on WJLB Veterans Views. We would appreciate it. That way they know that their money, people are listening and their money is well spent to keep us on the air, because we are all volunteers. And we don't get paid. We volunteer to do this. And these sponsors are what keep us on the air.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And without them, we couldn't be here passing on all this information to you.
I think we got a caller. We got a caller on
okay.
the line. Let's take that caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on Veterans Views radio program.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing? I think you're doing a good job this morning.
Oh, thank you.
I like how you reminded the audience to draw a line between socialism and, of course, extremism in socialism. We don't want that.
That's exactly right.
I want to drop something on you guys, because I think you're more than qualified to weigh in on this issue. I don't know if you're familiar with Senate Bill 424. It was passed into law. It's a utility-related bill where it allows the utility companies in Indiana, it's multiple companies, to recoup 80% of their investment in small modular reactors. And these reactors are developed and bought to power data centers. And I personally think that it's an unfair bill. It's an illegal tax, and it circumvented the purpose of why we have the Indiana Regulatory Commission, because basically it's a legal increase in the bill without going through the commission, number one. And number two, you're legislating in the...
Is that NIPSCO?
Yes.
There.
It's
all of
NIPSCO
them.
for us, but statewide it could be any of them.
Yeah.
So it's a state statute, so it's applying to everybody, NIPSCO included. And it's up to the discretion of the utility company whether they're going to buy a small modular reactor, because I would imagine they only buy it if they need to power a data center sitting in their territory.
Right, and
but nonetheless, for us to go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, we're already being charged for these, and we're not going to get a refund if they don't buy them. You know, they're
exactly.
You know,
so you get it.
Is this going to lower our bills?
No, your
if
bills
this
are
is
going
going to
up.
raise our bills, I'm against it.
Yeah.
It's not even about the raising or lowering. It's something even more crucial than that.
Danger.
How are you going to mandate a law for us to give money to a private entity other than the government? That's an illegal. Our taxes, fines, and fees only go to public entities, not private entities.
You're
and
right.
Then worse yet, let's say we pay for this. That's the crucial thing. So
you're absolutely right.
And if it's NIPSCO, I don't care who it is. We don't want a law where we have to pay a private entity money to sponsor their equipment.
You're right. I agree with
you.
Private entities.
You're right. Is there any lawsuits filed on this?
That I don't have
I plan to do one, and what I wanted to say to you guys, I think this is a bipartisan issue because the bill's coming in black ink, not red or blue ink, and I think we all need to get together on this one issue and stop that, because it contravenes the very essence of the Constitution.
Oh, I agree. You are
agree
absolutely
with that.
right.
You're absolutely right, and I want you to keep us informed on that too.
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Because there's a woodchuck in the woodpile here, and you know what they say, you know, both sides are sometimes taking the same money from the same people.
Yeah.
And obviously, in this case, if it's bipartisan, I would say that's what's happening right now. What I don't understand, there's energy resources. Caller, you know what a tokamak is?
Yes.
Well, why can't we have tokamaks?
What's a tokamak?
It's a plasma reactor, and it produces more power than nuclear power.
Oh.
Bottom line, it creates a plasma ball like the sun. And they have them. Russia has one that fires laser beams. It can shoot down 3,554 rockets in 10 seconds.
Wow.
But they haven't used it.
And you know what I was thinking about?
They only want to use it.
The pressing issue is, whether it's SMR or plasma, we don't want our government getting comfortable creating laws to make us pay private industries. Private industries need to compete with each other like anyone else. Imagine
I agree with that.
You, I, and her sold hamburgers, and one of us can get an elected official, make a law, say you have to visit my hamburger place so many times a year.
Yeah.
As opposed to this one.
You are absolutely right, caller.
So that's a very slippery slope.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks for taking my call. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Take care, man.
I want to say something about some of the weapons that we have out there. And, you know, we've got hypersonic missiles. And, you know, those are weapons capable of traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5. That's over 3,800 miles per hour. while maintaining maneuverability, allowing them to bypass modern defense networks. They're traveling so fast.
Yeah, nobody can catch them.
But you know what? They've timed those UFOs at like 6 times faster.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They move from one spot to another. And here's another thing about those unidentified flying objects that were seen off these ships in the Pacific Ocean. There's no sound wave. You know, if a jet breaks the sound barrier, you'll hear a boom. These things are traveling without breaking the sound waves, which makes me wonder what kind of technology are they using to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we have what they call direct energy weapons.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the direct energy weapons are top secret, but we do know that they're high energy lasers and electromagnetic cannons. And they're systems like the U.S. Navy has the DEWs. They use concentrated energy to destroy drones and missiles at the speed of light. They're offering a virtually limitless cost per shot magazine.
That's amazing. And I know down in Venezuela, we used some kind of weapon that incapacitated a lot of people. They were brought to their knees.
And we're going to take this caller, and then I'm going to tell you something that you're really going to be scared of. Go ahead, caller.
Go ahead, caller.
I'm a veteran of the Vietnam War, and I can tell you that you can have the greatest weaponry in the world, the bravest military guys. It doesn't mean diddly if you have a poor commander-in-chief in the White House. I served under a total moron during the Vietnam War, and I saw a lot of people killed and weapons lost and so forth because of the so-called rules of engagement coming out of Washington. I mean, it frankly permanently changed my attitude toward the federal government.
Well, I remember a long time ago, a guy ran for president, and he said, no new wars.
Yeah.
I think that, and I remember Eisenhower warning us of the industrial military complex. Mm-hmm. And I myself think that the president's been compromised by something. Mm-hmm. I hope not, but it looks like he probably was. And even to send the ships over there didn't seem right.
No.
It something, and a lot of his staff told him that too. So we're going to watch to see how this plays out. The ships are gone now from the Hormuz Strait, from what I understand. And we're going to see how this plays out. But, some things that every president does that I don't like. Biden left, $80 billion of weapons in Afghanistan. Clinton at the last month, I guess, in office, signed the bill, favored nation for China.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
And they told all those countries left. Nixon went over there and made a deal with them.
That was the beginning of the end.
I mean, and you got to hold some of these corporations accountable.
Yeah.
For they go to these countries that when we fought in Vietnam, we were fighting against Chinese-made weapons.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all our companies are manufacturing over there. And I think that some of these corporate leaders should have been held accountable.
Yeah.
And for moving companies to what they call a communist country.
Right, because they have slave labor over there.
It's crazy, and it's all about the money.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's always been about the money, unfortunately, and that's just the way it is. But we have to be very aware of what we're getting ourselves involved in and how we're doing that.
And when
because sometimes your staff might tell you A when it's really B.
Right.
And I think Trump found out when he got over there and started negotiating with Iran. Let me ask you this: the English beat us in every battle, but lost the war. I mean, you think about that.
Yeah.
There were a few battles we won, but most of them English won. So,
go ahead, caller.
They won more wars than the Americans did. The first great victory was at Saratoga Springs in New York, and the final victory battle that, of course, the French had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
The the French Navy boxed in the Brits so they couldn't escape, and George Washington wanted to attack New York, and the French admiral said, no, Yorktown, that's where we'll catch them. And while Washington was a great figure, mainly because of his moral authority, he was able to keep no matter how many times they were defeated, he was able to keep, because of his personal prestige, they were able to keep an American independence army in the field. Now, remember this, it wasn't just the Brits. I mean, the Brits had predominantly the Indians backed the Brits. Then you had a big chunk of the population who were royalists, and they felt they had very practical reasons for their decision. They weren't being mean or ugly or stupid. Their argument was, hey, this is an era of empires, and the British Empire is the best of a bad deal, and even you can get independence temporarily, but somebody's going to come along and bring an end to that. One of the great empires would bring an end to that. But the thing that made it possible to win that war was big factor was the French, because they provide supplies and money and so forth, and also they provided the wherewithal for the most decisive victory at a time when the British political class and the British people had their belly full of the war, and they wanted no more. And so once they were defeated at Yorktown in Virginia, those who supported continuation of the war just lost all their credibility, and that was the end of that.
And you're exactly right, caller. Does history repeat itself? I mean, look at Vietnam.
Right.
And I was with the 173rd Airborne there in 1967, 1968 as an infantryman. And I remember when I came back in June of '68, they were having the Democrat National Convention in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
I had my uniform on. I got out of a cab from O'Hara on Randolph Street, and these people came around the corner, started calling me a baby killer and throwing eggs and tomatoes at me, and I had no idea what was going on.
All good Democrats. All good Democrats.
At the time, because it was the Democrat National Convention.
That's a historical fact.
Yep.
So
the Democrats bungled this country into that war, and in the end, instead of accepting responsibility for it, they blamed the privates, the sergeants, the lieutenants, and the captains for that war. Insanity, and I think we're paying the price now in that. Up to Vietnam, there were about a third of the population, a third of the families in the country who actively encouraged service in the military. I came from a family like that, and but since Vietnam and the fact that we were misused in Vietnam during the war, and then scapegoated when we returned, that's the end of that. And we should really have. Given the rising power of the Red Chinese, we should have a military of at least 2 to 3 million, and there's no way they would get that on a volunteer basis.
Right.
They would have to restore the draft, and that would include women.
Yes, it would.
What do you think? What do you think about drafting women?
Well,
that may happen soon.
It may, and the thing is women have fought for equal rights, and we fought to be in combat, and you can't say that, we can't draft women now. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
But what I would like to say, caller, and to a lot of people out there, there's so much technology going on, and I think we got another caller that just called in, caller, so we're going to have to let you go, and then I'm going to tell everybody about a bullet that chases you.
Okay.
In other words, you can't hide from it.
Oh, boy. Okay, go ahead, caller.
All right, thank you, caller.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, this is Colonel Jones, and I just would like to say that I'm so happy to hear your voice.
We got to salute you.
Yes, Colonel.
I'm saluting you over here, Colonel.
Oh, and I'm returning, hey, order arms.
There you go.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say there is something about Pat O'Donnell that a lot of people don't know. He's got a big, big heart.
Yeah.
And he got all kind of connections all over the world. And I just want to honor our fallen Colonel Henshaw. Colonel Dave Henshaw passed away a long time ago. And he was a big part of Purple Heart, DAV, and just an honorable man.
Yes,
well, his wife is still here.
Yes, he was.
And I tell you, Pat O'Donnell has not forgotten her.
That's right.
And so you got a big heart. And people know something about you, but people don't know everything about you.
Uh-oh.
You got connections.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah, he does.
knowledge, wisdom. And when you asked about should women be in combat, let me tell you, yes. And why? We already there.
Yeah.
I have a friend and a comrade, Dr. Sheila Chamberlain, who is also an attorney. She was the first black female in intelligence as a pilot in combat.
Wow.
Ask her if we can get her on the show.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on the show.
She is wonderful. She received a medal from President Biden for her efforts. She's also the cousin of Emmett Till. So there's a great history there.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I believe that our military branch, all the military branches of the United States of America are superb. And why? Because we are a conglomerate of all of the best who raised their hand and took the oath to serve this country. And so, of course, they are capable of serving. They've already proven that. So it is no question. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for being out there. I listen to you every Friday. I may not always comment, but I listen, and I'm just so appreciative of veteran views.
Well, thank you, Colonel.
Thank you,
We really
Ashley.
appreciate that.
We appreciate that.
God bless.
All right.
You too,
God
Colonel.
bless the 250 years of our country.
Amen.
Take care.
Amen. Amen. Okay, and one other thing I wanted to say, the direct energy weapons, the automatic systems, the smart ammunition, self-guided projectiles, and micro-explosives that can course correct mid-flight to track moving targets.
Wow.
Now, I also know something about these that was top secret, but it kind of got out and I got a hold of it. That they can put a DNA sequencing
I heard about
thing in there, and if you're running that way and you make a left turn, and there's 100 people out there, it's going to chase you because it has your DNA,
Wow.
and it's measuring your Kirlian, also your Kirlian image.
Wow.
It can measure your Kirlian. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this because a lot of people get scared. But Donna, back to you.
All right. Well, that's scary. That is scary. We only got about a minute left, so I just want to. Final thought is, if you're out there and you are struggling, please call someone, and you can always call 9881 to talk to a veteran on the 24/365 crisis line. So please reach out. And if you know anybody in crisis, you can. One good thing about the VA and Crown Point is you can go there anytime. They are open for a mental health evaluation. They take walk-ins every day, and you can always walk in there and get some help.
Well, Donna, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody out there. I made a rare appearance once in a while, and hopefully next week I think you'll have the whole crew back for the 250th anniversary. And to all the people out there, God bless you. Thanks for listening to Veterans Views radio program. As always, may God bless America. Thank you very much.
Yep. And if you do catch us on YouTube, please like and subscribe our video. It really helps us. I know everybody that's on YouTube says that, but it really does help now that we're getting into it. And we would appreciate it. And thank you for listening. Oorah, Semper Fi, and good night, Chesty, wherever you are.